this is what I wanted to do today. Every Disneyland fan has taken for granted downtown Disney. We've strolled at the fastest legal Disneyland pace possible. We've ran through it, gone around it on the monorail. We've come in from the bizarro Harbor Street entrance. Everyone has somehow just taken it for granted. And I love Disneyland more than anyone. You can contest me on that. But I love Disneyland just like you do. And even I am guilty of skipping it. Sometimes it's just so tempting to get right into the park. But now, the downtown Disney is the only Disneyland that we have. Everyone has a new appreciation for this magical parcel of land that takes us from automobile to the two different gates, Disney's California Adventure or the OG Walt's Original Magic Kingdom, Disneyland. Downtown Disney is open for the meantime. We don't know that it will stay open forever. Health concerns here in Southern California are getting pretty serious. So I say, do not take this for granted. This might not be something that we have unlimited downtown Disney time of. So let's cruise through it and I will give you my review. And now that I've been there for a day or so, and now that I've had a little bit of time to think about it, I have to say, this was the most fun I've had in public in weeks. It's also the safest that I have felt in public in weeks. As you can see, everyone is wearing a mask other than those that have briefly paused to have a snack. Everybody else is masked up. And Disney's cast members were so good at being friendly, giving people positive peer pressure, positive reinforcement that mask wearing is absolutely required, and even compliment you on your mask, the way that you're wearing it, the type of mask that you have. The Disney ambassador, the nice gentleman that does all those know before you go videos, he told me, he's like, dude, I love the way that your beard looks with your mask. And I said, I appreciate you for all of the Galaxy's Edge videos that you gave us last year. So what we're looking at today is the cast member preview to Downtown Disney. This was this Wednesday, one day before it opened up to the general public. This was essentially a way for Disney cast members to kick the tires on a social distance downtown Disneyland. What they were able to do was test out all the new social distancing and do it with cast members, so employees that obviously are always on their best behavior because this is their place of business, family members of cast members who want to not embarrass their family member because they appreciate that paycheck, and then my category, friends of cast members. I had a cast member who's a good friend of mine. He said, look, nobody's been missing it more than you. If I can get you in, it will be a great honor of mine. And I said, I accept your proposal, and I did. So as you can see, as we're walking through, it is not overcrowded. Lots of the little independent outdoor carts are open for business. And you saw vendors hanging out, being very, very friendly. Everybody was just happy to be there. The phrase that a lot of folks use is welcome home. And I have to say that was very, very, very emotional. The landscaping, absolutely. It looks great as ever. I mean, it's just so nice to be back in this environment. Downtown Disney has all of the sounds, all of the vibes of being in the parks. Now, granted, there are no attractions, but if you're a vibe hound like me, plenty of vibes. And you know, my number one goal was to get to that sweet, sweet salt and straw. So what I did was I had dinner at Black Tap, sat outside on the deck with a new Disney bud that I met, and then I did my live stream, and my reward was some delicious salt and straw. And I told all the folks working there, I have been waiting to see you for a very, very long time. Now, oddly, the Mexican restaurant here, Tortilla Joe's, was not open. I don't know if they're open now, but this seems like one of the restaurants that would be open because they have a decent amount of outdoor seating. Splitsville and Black Tap were splitting the outside of this deck area, so you could easily go over there and eat. This was the shortest line I'd ever seen for Black Tap. These signs are everywhere, just making it clear, these are the rules, these are how to behave. But the signs were largely unnecessary because everybody was on the exact same page. Wonderground was open for going in and doing some shopping. Now, of course, this is a much lighter crowd flow than what showed up on Thursday. Thursday morning, from what I hear, was pretty gnarly of folks showing up for the 65 anniversary merchandise that had been released. But other than inside the shops, it was pretty socially distant from what I've seen from friends that were there. And I expect that as time goes on, that it will slowly kind of dissipate. Like the next couple of days, I anticipate will be pretty crazy because it's people that are just anxious to get back in. But after the psychos like me have had our turn through the park, I would assume that it will get to a more like sort of general attendance that won't be so intense. Ballas, a great establishment, the entire upper floor is their spot. That doesn't social distance well. So obviously they won't be back open. But this huge line that you see here, this is for the Confectionary Shop. And all of these people are waiting here because the Confectionary Shop serves the same treats that they have in the park. So if you're looking to get a candy apple or one of the different chocolates or taffies that you enjoy inside, this is where you go to get that official taste of Disneyland food. Sephora was open. Thank the Lord that Salt and Straw was open. No more free samples, but they do have limited edition flavors. But I said, no, I just want to go and get my traditional double scoop of sea salt with caramel ribbons. Woo! I could have gone up to Salt and Straw. Actually, I drove past the one in Venice a couple of times, but I wanted to hold on to that for a back to the park moment. So I could have gone to some of our other locations, but I wanted to have it here. And yes, the void is done, which is pretty ironic when your name is the Void and now you're void of being there. So we'll let the poets work that one out. But you can see the pizzeria here had plenty of outdoor seating, and it didn't seem like there were tables that were taped off. It seems like the tables that they do have are free and clear, and they have situated all of the tables. As you see, the cast members just welcoming me into World of Disney. They were so nice, and this was generally the spirit that I felt all evening. And the thing that I really want to break down is I have stayed at home. I've only done small gatherings with very close friends, and I know where they're at and what they've been up to. You know, a couple of socially distant backyard situations with way less than 10 people. The people that I have been around for my job, we've kept our distance from each other with mask and hand sanitizer. This is really my first going back out into the world. And even though going there, I felt a little bit uneasy about going into the world, I think my personality, my emotions, me as a human, I needed this moment. And everybody there was so pleasant and so happy that it felt normal to have a mask on. It actually felt comforting to see everybody adhering to the same set of rules. So whether you believe in them or not, everybody was on the same page. And regardless of what your personal opinions are, how much do you miss just everyone being on the exact same page? There was a unity to being in downtown Disney, and that is something that I have sincerely missed of being out in the public, being out around others. This shirt, you had me at Disneyland. That's great, because I tell my wife, I love you like Disneyland. And she knows that that is the highest compliment I can give everyone. And by the way, Disneyland wins by a little bit. Don't tell her, she watches none of my content. But these different sets that the store has where everything's put together in that Disney way with, you know, a little touch of magic, it just felt good to be around all of that. Our brothers and sisters in the Pride movement, I feel so bad that like so many other great things, they were robbed of their moment, but you can still celebrate it there at Disney. And then just look at this family just getting together and having a fun photo opportunity in front of the stores. Like, people were just really, really excited to be back. So this is the area where I walked down here with my salt and straw by myself. It was the only time that I took my mask off when I wasn't inside of a restaurant like patio area. Never went inside and ate inside. But I sat here with the sound of a Disneyland waterfall behind me when I had my salt and straw, and I timed it just right. When I sat down, they were still playing the music. And when I got up, the music was off because I was one of the absolute last people to leave. So my review is this. If you live far from out of town, don't drive down here for this. Don't get on a plane for this. Don't take a bus. Don't take a train. I can't say that it is worth that to your health and to your safety. But if you're a local and it's a quick drive, come out. And I would say come out probably later in the day or early in the day, you know, kind of figure out when, what would work best for that day. But I would say that if you are a local, coming out feels really, really good. And you can find several places to have a snack, to have a dinner. You can go to Marceline's, the confectionary shop, and get a taste of Disneyland. And the greatest thing that they're doing is that they are letting this area be open. This could very well easily be roped off. But for the moment, they're allowing this space to be open, which gives you the moment to just get a little bit of Disneyland. So I walked up here when I first showed up at 4 o'clock. They had the cast member preview. You got an appointment. You basically had a 4-hour window that you were allowed to show up. So I was in the 4 to 8 crowd. And when I got to this spot right here, this is when I choked up. This is when it hit me that this place that I think about, that I dream about, that is all of my inspirations, that I was so close to being right back there. And I've been watching all of the Magic Kingdom reopening videos. I've been seeing cast members go out there. I've been seeing fellow content creators go out there. But this was my turn to get a little bit of Disneyland back. And if you come over to this nook and you sit in this little cove, it really feels like you're in DCA. And it's hard with my camera on my gimbal. But if you just have, see, I just hit the wall there. If you have a regular camera, you can just kind of pose right there and get a good view of it. Now, when I did first show up over at Disneyland, they had a rope up. They were basically using the monorail as a way to keep a rope to keep people off the gates. When they got close to their close, they took that rope down. Maybe a half hour before close, they took the rope down, which is when this footage was filmed. So I was able to actually get up to the gates of Disneyland. But it's interesting. This is a moment where this plexiglass that we see how the cast member would be 3/4 of the way covered. So you would come in through the turnstile, hand them your pass through that little opening, or let them scan you through the glass. This cast member probably has the highest volume of guest interactions out of anyone in the park. So putting them in there keeps them in a very safe spot to see, conservatively, thousands of people every day. And you could also see the cranes were moving around and they were going double time back at the Avengers campus, which should have already been opened by now. I believe that when it's time for you to renew your photo or photos for the tickets, that they will probably have an area where you will step aside, or they might have a station cast member area to do that, just because it does slow down the line when people are going through. And I don't know how well they'll be able to take photos through the plexiglass. I mean, at different hours of the day, you'll get different glares, different reflections. So that's probably something that they'll have to try out. All right, let's work our way over to Disneyland. But as you can see here, the rope was down just 30 minutes before close. And we were able, those of us that were still there, were able to actually go right up to the gate. And friends, you know, I had said, oh, it'd be cool if there was a train going by. It'd be cool if Mickey was walking around in there. It doesn't need any of that. I mean, I wouldn't say no to those perks, to those bonuses, but it just really feels so good to be there. You can see the acrylic walls again over here to protect the cast members, letting everybody into Disneyland. I wanted to let her have her moment because I knew that I would be here for a while. And once again, if you have a traditional camera not on a gimbal, you can get shots where those bars aren't obstructing your view. But with the gimbal and shooting horizontally in landscape mode, you're a little tight to get in there. But it just felt so good to stand right here. So if you are a local and you're missing it, even at the rope, it felt so great just to be here. So I would highly recommend coming out, but I'd also recommend bringing your patience because things aren't the way that we remembered them. Just look at that shot. It's as if I was there. And I was there, just not there. But all of the vibes, all of the feeling, the music is still playing in the Esperanza. And this was something that I really, truly needed. I can't tell you how when I left that evening, I just felt so happy. I felt so alive again. I really felt that magic that you feel of going to Disneyland. Because essentially, to me, yeah, the attractions are a part of it and seeing the characters is obviously fantastic, but I have declared this as my happy place, a spot where when I go, I just am the happiest version of myself and all my worries go away. And you can still get that feeling minus going into the gate, because just being here reminds you of all those great memories, all those great feelings. Those are cached into our brain. I do believe that if you go midweek and if you kind of pick your times, you can find a safe time to go. But one of the perks without the rope being here that I discovered, because if you leave really, really late at night, there's these two gates on the far right and the far left. You can see just that cast member standing there to make sure some maniac like me doesn't jump over the gate. But this is when I realized, like, guys, we can see into Main Street. And, you know, they always say that this is a stage. When you look at it from this perspective without anybody in there, and this is the first time in my entire Disney fandom I've ever been able to see it during the day with nobody in there. I've seen it at night empty, but during the day with it being empty, it literally does look like a movie set. And it also looks more like a real little small town, because how many towns do you know have an endless amount of people flowing through them? So here's where I was able to really kind of zoom in, and the cast member was cool and kind of got it out of my way a little bit. And I got to see right into Main Street. See the plaque. This is my tunnel. This is the tunnel that I always go through. And so maybe showing up late might be cool if they take down the rope at the end of the night. And it was very nice that they didn't have this blocked off. This was a really good feeling. And in a time when it's been hard to deal with reality and deal with your expectations, it felt good to be here. It felt good to live in this moment. I went home that night with that rush, that happiness, that my heart is full feeling, because I was at Disneyland. And I really, truly love this place and how it makes me feel and how it makes me want to be the best version of myself. So if you happen to be at the park really, really late at night, maybe if you get invited to a private club and your table's taking your time, you will get escorted out of the park and you will go over to the very, very far gate on the western half. And the cast member that will let you out, she will take out a skeleton key and undo a padlock. So I have literally been let out of this gate as the last guest to leave Disneyland. No photos, because then it's considered backstage. But I have walked through this tunnel and been let out of this gate by a lock. And I knew that these two gates are lower. And look at this shot. You could see all the way into the marketplace. You can see the Emporium. It just felt so amazing to be here So my review to you is, there's my favorite flag, the little orange, white, and black. I love that vintage Mickey flag. There's one there. There's also one next to City Hall. But my review to you is this. If you can safely make it out, come out. Have a snack, have some dinner, and enjoy being in a safe public venue that is monitored with your safety in mind. In the state of California, if they feel they need to pull the plug, they will, and Disneyland will respond appropriately. But they've been bleeding a lot of money, so it felt good to put a little bit of cash back in the jar. Look at that view. We'll be back soon. We'll be walking down there again. It was very, very emotional being there. And my live stream, you could kind of see me getting caught in the moment. But I thought it was important to come back a couple days later and just sort of give people the broader view of what to expect and how to enjoy this. And just looking at this footage is taking me back there. So I do say come back, but also bring patience. And remember, it's not all a science. They don't have everything figured out yet. And the cast members in Disney is just trying to create a very safe space for us to go to this place we love and to feel safe and to not feel like we're in harm's way. I, like everybody else, I've been running short on happiness, and this recharged my batteries. So this is what it looked like right at sunset. And now I have a little bit of footage for you of what it looked like when we first showed up at 4 o'clock. And my first stroll through downtown Disney, each step got me closer to this moment, and I couldn't wait to get here. And so if you do show up when they have the rope running along the edge of the monorail, it's still a great view. From the American flags, and you can see they still have the American flags in there. They're still raising those flags up every morning and taking them down every evening. There you go, friends. There is my review of going to downtown Disney. I say go if you're a local, show up with some patience, have a snack, do a little bit of shopping, and, you know, just don't press your luck. I'm sure Disney's trying to figure out the way for all of us to get the best photos, the best experience possible. And I think that that happens when you show patience. So because I wasn't demanding to the cast members and they saw that I was a dedicated fan and they could see that I had my camera out, they were nice and they stepped out of the way for all the photos that I took. So it was a really, really, really great time. And I'm not going to go a lot because we do have a public health crisis, but I am going to go back maybe every other week or so just to get that fix. And I'm also not going to go a lot because I want to share it with everybody else. As much as I want to go there every single day, I'm going to kind of wait it out and enjoy it. And do keep in mind that we are not promised that this will stay open forever. If California spikes one way or the other and they start shutting down things, this could be taken away. So wait a few days and let all the crazies get there, but then make sure you show up if you're planning on it, because I would hate for you to miss out on this opportunity to feel this close to Disneyland again. I really, really enjoyed it. And I really can't stress how I had the feels when I got back to my car, just walking through there and the music and being around the people. Like, I really needed this. And it was nice to be around people. It was nice to be around a sense of community. And it was nice to do it where you felt safe. I haven't felt this safe in public since the last time I left Disneyland.